These are the 5 exact snacks I eat every single week to lose 50 pounds in 5 months. And in today's video, I want to break down each and every one of them so you can do the exact same thing. What's up guys, Josiah Novak, thetruetransformation.com. I run a consulting and coaching company where we help busy, high performers ultimately lose weight, transform their body, feel their best, perform at their best without giving up their social, family, or work life. Been doing it for the better part of 20 years. And about almost 20 years ago, a little over 20 years ago, I was overweight. I had stopped playing sports, gained 65 pounds, and my initial jump into fat loss came with a lot of trial and error. Did a lot of unhealthy things, lost weight really fast, and one of those experiences, the 50 pounds in 5 months experience that is, came with a lot of nutritional lessons that I want to share with you. I did a video a while back on the top 5 main foods that I ate when I was dropping 50 pounds in 5 months. You can check that one out if you'd like. But ultimately, snacking was also a part of my routine. And over the past 20 plus years, as I've maintained my weight loss, I've learned to use strategic snacking. And I want to share with you 5 key snacks that I still rotate throughout my week. So let's start with just the basics here. Number one is obviously food is a big deal, right? Calories and protein are the 2 most important things when it comes to fat loss. If you're not controlling your calories, you're gonna really struggle to lose weight. You have to be in a calorie deficit in order to start dropping body fat. But it's not enough to just track calories. You also need to be eating the right amount of protein and ultimately start to balance out your carbohydrates and fats. At the end of the day, we live in a world where food is literally everywhere. It's around every corner. It's literally at every location that we're at. It's at our house, it's at our work, it's just everywhere. So controlling our nutrition becomes the biggest part of the game for most people. And what you're probably used to right now when it comes to your nutrition is eating whenever you feel like eating. Whenever the hunger signal starts to come in and you realize, hey, it's time to eat. And whether or not you're actually hungry, whether or not you actually need food, you grab for whatever's convenient. And oftentimes we fall into the trap of snacking around the clock. So snacking gets a bad rap. It's oftentimes referred to as the thing you need to cut out whenever you're trying to lose body fat, like stop snacking. You know, it's leading to overeating. And while this might be true, I still think there's a time and place for having strategic snacks built into your meal plan. And today I'm going to share with you how I do that. So let's just jump right into the first thing I included in my nutrition plan. The first thing I included in my plan was apples. Now, an apple a day keeps the doctor away, or whatever the phrase is, might be true, might not be true. I really wasn't eating apples necessarily for the nutritional benefit. I was actually eating apples for the satiety benefit. Satiety is, how much a food fills you up and satisfies you after you eat it. And part of the name of the game when it comes to losing fat is making sure you're eating highly satiating foods. So things like potatoes, apples, oatmeal, chicken, protein sources, those things fill you up and make you feel a lot more satisfied than some of the highly processed packaged foods that digest really quickly and leave you feeling hungry shortly after you eat it. Things like chips, cookies, that kind of stuff. So apples did a couple things for me. Number one, it's a very low calorie food and it's high in fiber. It's also crunchy. And so that crunchy feeling when you eat it gives you some positive feedback and can help diminish any kind of cravings that you have. So one of the routines that I would implement with apples is I'd have, my main meals throughout the day. Typically, I would eat a midday meal as my first meal. I'd have a late afternoon meal, and then I'd have a dinner. And what I would do to bridge the gap between my first meal and my second meal, because I'd always find that there'd be some hunger, right around 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, is I would usually grab an apple or 2. Super low calories and high in fiber. Also, of course, provides a lot of vitamins and minerals, and it's good for you. But this crunchy apple that actually takes a little bit of effort to eat really helped me satisfy that mid-afternoon craving that would always creep in. And I had been used to just grabbing, things like a bag of chips or, a candy bar, something sweet, crunchy, and satisfying in the moment. But then obviously shortly thereafter, you're super hungry. The apple satisfies all those things too, except it fills you up a lot more. So it is sweet, it is crunchy, but it has more fiber and it's more nutritionally valuable. So you're not as hungry right after you eat. So the apples became a staple in my snacking routine. And I wouldn't have an apple every single day, but on occasion, usually once or twice a week, an apple would get thrown into the mix just to bridge that gap between meals. The second thing that I would include in most of my weeks, and this might not be shocking or news to you, but something that I think everybody can get a lot of benefit from these days, is protein bars and protein shakes. Now, I'm gonna give you some specific recommendations because over the years, the protein bar and protein shake landscape has changed quite a bit, and there's a lot more tasty options out there that also, in some cases, have some pretty rock solid ingredients. There are some questionable ingredients for sure, but protein bars and protein shakes are a vital part still to this day when it comes to my nutrition strategy. So for me back then, my go-to protein bar, if I am remembering correctly, I think it was a Metrics bar. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Metrics, but it was a pretty big company. I don't even know if they're still out there, to be completely honest with you, but they had these protein bars that back then I thought tasted really, really good. Now, on the protein shake side, there really wasn't a whole lot of options with ready to drink shakes, right? The shakes that come already pre-mixed. You just throw them in the fridge, shake them up before you open it, and then you just chug it down. Back then, you actually had to make your own protein shakes. So I would mix up water, unfortunately, because I was on super low calories, with protein powder. And back then, I used a company called Nitrotech. I was actually sponsored by them for a very short period of time because I did a transformation contest with them. And I would mix it up in a blender with a bunch of ice, and I would chug it down. And honestly, back then, just the chocolate flavor that it came in was enough to kind of satisfy the craving. But more importantly, with protein bars and protein shakes, it helped me get to my protein goal. The real purpose behind that snack was making sure I hit my protein numbers without having to eat a ton of chicken, a ton of egg whites, or a ton of fish all the time. Whenever I would get sick of eating poultry or fish, I would just turn to a protein shake or a protein bar. Now these days, a protein shake or a protein bar typically find their way into my rotation almost daily. And that's because I enjoy them. There's so many more options now when it comes to tasty bars. My friend Mark Lobliner has a bar called the Outright Bar. I love the cookies and cream flavor, and I'm not even sponsored by them, except I should say Mark does send me a lot of free bars for our clients and our events, so I gotta give him some props. But the protein bar actually tastes incredible. And the macros on the bar are pretty rock solid. It comes with a solid amount of protein, usually about 20 grams of protein. And I usually have one of those per day. Sometimes I'll jump over to my friend Remington James's bar, the Anna Bar. Once again, not sponsored by them, but love their products. The cookies and cream is amazing. That tends to be my go-to for most flavors. But the texture of the bar, the taste of the bar, all are spot on, and it's come a long way because protein bars used to taste like absolute crap, and I would want nothing to do with it. There was the Quest bar for a period of time that was part of my rotation, has a ton of fiber, so some people find that they have a little bit of discomfort if they eat too many of them, but for a while I have Quest bars in my rotation too. On the protein shake side, Fairlife Power Shakes, or the Core Power Shakes by Fairlife, they have a ton of protein. Some of them have like 42 grams of protein and minimal carbs and minimal fats. I mean, 42 grams in a small shake is pretty intense, and that's a fast way to get to your protein goal. Now, I know recently Fairlife has come under some scrutiny because some of the ingredients aren't considered that healthy, and this is why I would recommend not making protein shakes the primary source of your nutrients. Once in a while, you want to throw one in. You know, I usually have a protein shake a couple times a week. My protein bars are usually daily, but my protein shakes are usually a couple times a week. Once again, a great way, if you're on the go, you don't have time to stop and make food, and you don't want to go off track, great thing to throw in the car, great thing to throw in the briefcase, great thing to take to a hotel if you're traveling, just a convenient snack to have at your disposal. So guys, just quick note here. I run a company called thetruetransformation.com. You know, when we talk about snacking and we talk about nutrition and meal plans and foods and all that stuff, nutrition is highly individual. So I'm going to give you my best suggestions, right? But feel free to disagree with me. That's totally fine. I'm not here to say that everything I say is perfectly right. What I'm here to tell you is this stuff has worked for me and thousands of my clients. Guys who run big companies, guys who are executives, top salespeople, top people in different industries who simply want to get healthy, simply want to look good, feel good, and perform good. If that's you and you're like, hey, I'm just curious to know, like, what is the next step here? Because what you're saying sounds reasonable, it sounds sustainable, it sounds like I could actually enjoy something for once when it comes to my fitness. Well, there's a couple links in the description of this video as there are in the comments below. If you want to go to that link, click that link, it'll take you to a page that'll walk you through the next steps when it comes to our program, how we do things, how we build things, and what we have going on. We've been in business now for almost 15 years, helping almost 10,000 clients from different programs, different courses, all that kind of stuff. So we have a pretty strong track record. If it's interesting to you and you're curious about how we do things, check the link out and set up a time to chat with me or one of my team members. All right, so snack number 3. Once again, a very convenient snack, these days at least. Back then, when I was losing weight, it wasn't as convenient. It's amazing how far we've come in such a short period of time. But Greek yogurt is snack number 3. Once again, a high protein, pretty moderate to low calorie food that also pairs really well with other foods. So Greek yogurt can be used in a variety of ways. I've actually, believe it or not, used Greek yogurt to make pizza crust. That's a whole nother video for another time and a whole nother discussion for another time. But Greek yogurt is a staple in my week when it comes to my snacks, specifically the Dannon Light and Fit Greek yogurt cups. Now, you may not have access to this brand, but I promise you, more than likely, you have access to another brand that's very similar. There's all types of brands now that carry these high protein Greek yogurt ready to eat cups. Usually have about anywhere from 15 to somewhere in the range sometimes of 20 to 25 grams of protein with, once again, minimal carbs and oftentimes zero fat, because non-fat Greek yogurt is a common part of some of these snacks. But Greek yogurt is just an easy way to get a ton of protein in, and it's also pretty tasty, especially some of these flavored Greek yogurt cups. You know, there's obviously the plain non-fat Greek yogurt, but when it comes to my snacking, I like to have a little bit of enjoyment, right? The taste factor is also a part of things for me. Personally, there's a flavor by Dannon, which is the apple pie flavor. That's a rotation in my week. And back then, when I was losing 50 pounds over the course of 5 months, what I would do is I would get non-fat Greek yogurt and I would put just a little bit of Splenda to give it a little bit of sweet taste to it. And then I would add a little bit of fruit on top, like blueberries, raspberries. And to be honest, it was like the perfect treat. Sometimes I'd even mix in a protein bar just as like a little crunch or a little topping to the Greek yogurt bowl. But Greek yogurt was something that actually became almost like a meal to me at some point, right? Where I would have like a Greek yogurt bowl every single night before going to sleep. I can remember for months, that was my last meal of the day, and it became just part of my rotation. Once again, though, Greek yogurt could be an option for you to pick up when you're traveling. You know, if you're staying at hotels and you're like, oh, I have access to a fridge, but what do I get? Well, stock up on Greek yogurt. Just grab a bunch of Greek yogurt cups. Could be a great breakfast food for you. Could be a great end of the day food for you. And once again, can provide convenience and help you avoid falling off track with your nutrition plan. The 4th snack that I started to include back when I was losing weight was rice cakes. Now, rice cakes, similar to apples, have a real crunchy texture for very, very low calories. Plus, there's different flavors. There's the chocolate, there's the caramel, there's the apple. There's even a popcorn rice cake. And for very low calories, you can have a few rice cakes and kind of break them up and have them almost like a popcorn type of snack. Rice cakes became a staple because bodybuilders started to make them popular. They would eat plain rice cakes as part of their daily meal plan. And I remember seeing all these guys get on the rice cake bandwagon. So I started doing it myself. And funny enough, it actually was a pretty satiating snack. I usually had it either middle of the day, like after my first meal, just as a tide me over snack similar to apples. Or I would have them in the evening while I'm watching TV and I don't want to, grab a bunch of chips. I wanted something just to munch on while I'm watching a show or watching sports. Now, over the years, I've evolved the rice cake snack into something a little fancier. So nowadays, if I want rice cakes or I use rice cakes as a snack, typically they're in the evening. I'll have a few rice cakes. I'll put whipped cream on top. And it's almost like, I don't know, a weird concoction that tastes just incredible. Especially if you have like the caramel rice cakes or the chocolate rice cakes. You put a little low-fat whipped cream, just absolutely crushes any sweet craving. I have a sweet tooth, just to be completely honest. Like, especially if I eat something salty, I typically need something sweet after to kind of mellow things or balance things out. So if I have a salty dinner, I'll have rice cakes with whipped cream afterwards, just to kind of make sure I'm not going and, raiding the ice cream or going to the store and grabbing something unhealthy. Just keeps me from falling off track. So rice cakes with whipped cream, huge thing. Now you could get even fancier with it. You could, if the calories make sense, you could put a little fruit on top, do a little bit of honey if you have the calories available. There's a lot of fun things you could do. You can even sprinkle cinnamon, which I do sometimes, on top of the whipped cream if I'm feeling really fancy, if I have the time and I remember. But once again, an easy snack. And by the way, the kids love it too, right? So kids love rice cakes. My kids do. You add whipped cream, man, they're like in heaven, and they're not eating that many calories, and they're keeping things healthy because that's the name of the game. Now, if you got to this point in the video and this has been helpful so far, do me a favor, just hit the like button. I hope that these ideas help give you more ideas, obviously, to add to your meal plan to make sure that you're staying on track and you're still enjoying the process, right? Getting in shape doesn't have to be torturous. You can have foods that you love. I'm just giving you ideas. I have a lot more ideas that I've implemented over the years, and I'll try to make more videos for you if you like this one, but leave me a comment. What is your top snack that you've included in a successful fat loss plan? Or what is a snack you wish you could include that you need a healthier version for? Just let me know in the comments, and we'll discuss, and we'll see if we can come up with some more ideas. The last snack that I had was sugar-free Jell-O. Now, this was a lifesaver. When I was losing 65 pounds over the course of what ended up taking me about 6 to 8 months, the first 50 came off in about 5, but the last 15 took a while to get off. Sugar-free Jell-O became my lifesaver. And I'm not talking about the Jell-O that's, super tasty, high in calorie. I'm talking like the 5-calorie Jell-O packs that you could eat 20 of them and it's only 100 calories. I used to literally take 5 of these, scoop them out, put them in a big bowl, put a little bit of low-calorie whipped cream on top, and I would sit there and just slowly eat sugar-free Jell-O. Now, was this the healthiest thing because of all the coloring and all that stuff in there? Probably not. It's probably not the most healthy thing to put in the body, but for me, it was just so satisfying to sit there and have something to chew on, even though it wasn't a lot of calories, when I was in a deep, deep calorie deficit. When I was so hungry that broccoli started looking delicious. When I was so hungry that just drinking water was satiating at some points, right? Where I was really chipping away at the last bit of body fat. Now, this is an old school hack that not a lot of people know about, but like little snacks like this can go a long way in keeping you from going off the deep end when it comes to your diet. The sugar-free Jell-O is not the most nutritionally healthy food. It doesn't really have any healthy nutrients whatsoever. It's just sugar-free Jell-O. It's basically water and a little bit of mix combined. But that's not the point. The point is to not lose sight of the big picture. The big picture here is, how do we stay on track 90% of the time? How do we avoid those nights where all we want to do is go eat something awful for us, lose track, get off our plan, and wake up the next day full of regret, of course, wishing you hadn't done it? How do we avoid that? Well, we got to have strategies like this. We got to have these strategic snacking strategies like the sugar-free Jell-O that can save you when you're stressed out, when you're tired, when you just want to say, screw it, I'm done, I'm impatient, I'm just over this, I just want to give up. These are the things that you need to have at your disposal. These are the things that will, I promise, save you many, many times if you have them available, if you stock up on these things and you know that, hey, going into this week, it's going to be a tough week. I'm probably going to be hungry. I got to have these resources available. So sugar-free Jell-O was snack number 5 that I implemented in my nutrition plan. All right, guys, that wraps up the 5 snacks I utilized to lose 50 pounds in 5 months. I hope this one was helpful. If it was, let me know. Leave me a comment. Let me know if this was something that benefited you or if you got some ideas from this. If you want more, I have a whole list of foods and snacks that I've implemented over the years to keep the weight off. If you're interested in hearing more, just drop me a comment and let me know. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the channel and like this video. And if you're interested in learning more about our True Transformation program, we've helped thousands of high performers, people with families, people who want more out of life, people who want to dial in their relationships, their finances, their faith, the things that matter to them, but they know their health and fitness is getting in the way. They just don't feel good about themselves. They don't feel healthy. They don't feel good when they wake up in the morning. They struggle with poor sleep. They struggle with managing stress. That's where we come in. We have a tried and true system. It's the 3M system combined with our coaching and community to bring you the accountability and momentum that you need to transform your life, not just for 90 days, but for the rest of your life. If that's interesting to you and you're like, hey, I want to learn more, there's links in the description of this video. There's links in the comments. Follow the link, follow the steps, hit get started, fill out a quick survey, and we'll take things from there. My name's Josiah Novak. As we always say around here, life moves fast. Make it count. I'll talk to you on the next one. Peace.